What's up guys, my name is Mikhail, you can call me Mick, and today I'm so excited, thrilled in fact, to bring you my impressions of the ZMF Caldera. So let's get the pricing out the way. This is a $3,500 headphone, and by no means am I saying that this is an affordable headphone. However, I will say that compared to other headphones that are priced above it, I think it sort of trumps them. And the price point that this is set at is actually quite fair in my opinion. So what makes this a very unique buying experience, shall I say? Well, ZMF are known for their build quality, and they're known for the types of woods that they use and just the craftsmanship that actually goes into this headphone. It is spectacular. And if you look at it online in pictures, I guarantee you it's not going to look the same. Try and hold a pair of these in your hand, give it a close look and see how much of work is put into this. It is truly remarkable. The only other headphone I would say that does better in terms of build quality will be Meze's Empyrean and Elite. Those headphones are definitely superior in terms of their craftsmanship just because of the mechanics that surround it. Here, ZMF is going for something completely different. ZMF headphones have wood because it's organic. It is trying to give you this organic feel when listening to music. And I must say they have quite the analog sound, and that's what we're trying to achieve with something like this. So in today's era of audiophile headphones, where everything is very treble focused and detail oriented and data retrieval is the most important thing that we could possibly imagine, ZMF take a different route. They take a more subtle route, a more calm route, a more relaxed route. The sound that you get from these are not overbearing in the high end, not in the least. It sort of just blends in with everything in a very casual and peaceful way. Now, not to say that these headphones don't have any quirks, they sure do, which we will get to a little later. So, ZMF headphones are known to be very customizable in their sound, and that's due to pad rolling. And they offer several different pads when you do buy this headphone. In fact, they give you an option of 2. You get to choose them, and they ship them very well packaged in a very nice container, which I'll throw in right here. So what about the comfort of these headphones? Well, let's put them on. The comfort is incredible once you adjust the headband. Now, ZMF have a video online on YouTube and on their website where they describe how we should actually mold this to our heads. And once you do mold it to your head, I am going to say it really does feel very comfortable. It doesn't sit very tight on your ears or your head, but there is quite a big problem. And that is the weight of these headphones. Now, I have a very basic model, so it doesn't include all the heavy bands and the heavy metal pieces, and you can customize all of those. If you really do want a heavy headphone, then you can really get some heavy headphones from ZMF. But this is a lighter model. It's one of the more standard models, and it is still a little too heavy for me. Now, what do I mean by it being too heavy? Because I think not many people are talking about ZMF headphones and the weight. But what I have found is that in this model, as well as the Verite Close, which I've owned in the past as well, both of those headphones tended to give me extreme neck pain. Now, I haven't got this in any other headphone that I've used, and I have used Audezys in the past, so that's, as we know, quite heavy headphones, but there's something about the shape and something about how it sits on my head that really gives me some terrible neck pain, to the point where that's the reason why I sold my Verite Closed, was just because of the pain. And to be quite honest, sometimes I feel like doing the same with the Caldera. So why haven't I? Why haven't I sold this headphone and got something better? The sound. So, the sound of these headphones are not neutral, not in the least. Although, if you look at it on a chart, if you look at it on a reading, you would notice that it is pretty linear all the way down to the sub-regions. And that's fantastic, and you can actually hear that quite clearly because the bass presence in this headphone is actually fantastic. The drivers have a way of handling those low frequencies like almost no other headphone that I've heard, besides maybe the D8000 and perhaps the AB1266TC. Those headphones handle the bass extremely well, and I think the Caldera is very close to those in terms of bass quality. Now, the bass quantity is fairly neutral actually, unless you turn up the volume, and that's where it really starts pumping. And that's what I love about these headphones, is that you can crank the volume and they tend to sound more like the room around you is filled with music, as opposed to there are two speakers on the side of your head, Mikhail. It's not that sound. It is a room filled with sound, and that is fantastic. In terms of the bass frequencies, I find that the ZMF Caldera is very low, very punchy, not as hard-hitting as the Verite Closed in terms of pure dynamic punch. However, in terms of quality and depth in the lows, this certainly is far superior. I find that the mids is where this headphone and most ZMF headphones tend to shine the most. And they shine in a particular way. They shine in a way that shows you that the sound coming out of these headphones are organic. And I love to use that word with this headphone and all ZMF headphones, because the sound that comes out of them is not one that you're going to find come out of a Hi-Fi Man, for example. With Hi-Fi Man headphones, the top end is really sort of emphasized and the low end is almost negligible, or does not have that impact that some music tends to give us when we're listening to it. The ZMF, on the other hand, is a smoother presentation, a more warm, lush sound. And for music preferences of R&B, of blues guitar, of jazz, this is absolutely phenomenal. It is phenomenal to hear what comes out of this. What it does lack in terms of sound is in the treble regions, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying it's a very bad headphone when it comes to treble. It is the perfect amount of treble for me. But I know the audiophile community tends to have data retrieval at quite a high standard. So I will say that there are definitely more resolving headphones out there. Although when you listen to this all together and just put the headphones on and listen to it, it's an experience. You don't put this headphone on and think, okay, I'm going to analyze my music and I'm going to place my instruments very accurately, and I want a complete representation of what's happening in the music. You get that to a certain degree with these, but this headphone is for putting on your head, lying down or sitting back and just listening to the music. These headphones are for the music alone. Now, the ZMF Caldera is not one of those headphones where you're going to pick it up and say, well, it's the best at this. Because it's not. It truly is not the best at every individual trait. It's not. What this achieves, however, is extremely close to top-end level across the board. And I think they've hit it out the park when it comes to the ZMF Caldera, if that's what they were going for. It is resolving. It is highly resolving. Do not get me wrong, it is very resolving. I can hear instruments that I've heard in the Sasvara. I've heard nuances in this headphone that I've also not heard in the Sasvara. And I think it tends to be more from that lower end region that shows its head every now and then and makes the sound extremely physical. Now, this is what I mean with these headphones being unique in its sound. It is an extremely physical headphone. The impact that you feel and the impact that you hear is really something spectacular. And most of ZMF headphones do this because of their house sound. And I think if a person who has a ZMF Verite or Verite Closed, I think you guys would absolutely love that they've taken a planar magnetic driver and given it the treatment of a dynamic driver. And that's exactly what it sounds like. It is punchy, it is lush, it is warm. It does not really sound very planar-like. The only thing that makes it sound planar-like is its ability to resolve. There is something about these headphones that I do not like, however, and that is a vocal trait that it has. It tends to get a little shouty when some vocalists appear in the song. Now, I don't mean it's always there and you're gonna listen to every single song and it's just somebody gonna be shouting at you. That's not the case, no. There are particular moments in songs where the dynamic range is a little bit pushed to its boundary, and you can sort of hear that in the ZMF Caldera. It tends to be a little jarring when a high note is hit, or maybe a more mid note is actually hit a bit louder. So I will suggest that if you're particularly sensitive to shoutiness, this is probably not going to be the headphone for you when it comes to vocals, however. The soundstage of these headphones is a weird one. Now, I don't mean it's weird in terms of being bad, not at all. It is just not very wide. It's not a wide soundstage. If I had to use my hands to describe, I would say I get a wall of sound about here. Okay, so this is the limits of the soundstage capabilities for me. Now, I will say that if you do listen at higher volume levels, this headphone does tend to stage a little better. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why these headphones don't perform very well when they don't have enough juice or when they have a little less volume. For example, even the HiFiMan Sasvara, which I've owned and used with fairly powerful equipment, even that headphone can still be listened to quite delicately at lower volumes, and you get the same data retrieval, you get the same amount of, grunt, even at volumes that are low. But the ZMF Caldera almost asks you to raise the volume. It almost implores you to do this. And I think once you do this and you hear what it sounds like, you hear the soundstage expand and you hear the instruments slapping and hitting, and that physical feeling tends to show its face. That's when you understand why these headphones are special. Now, is there anything I wish for that would be a little better for ZMF headphones in totality? Yes, there is. I would really love to see companies moving away from round speakers and start employing the ear-shaped, dome-shaped speakers that HiFiMan tend to use, and some other companies like Meze as well. These are much more comfortable. They feel a lot better. They feel as though maybe there's nothing on my head. I feel like the sound is coming from out there rather than something pressing against my head. When you have a headphone that is always pressing against your head, not like these are particularly uncomfortable by any means, not at all, but you do feel that they're there. And you do feel that the sound is coming from them. Whereas HiFiMan headphones do not feel that way. They feel like the sound is coming from outside. And it might be the window pane design that they have run with for however long they have, or it could be the ear-shaped, dome-shaped ear cups that they have. But I will say that it is a lot better of an experience, or a wearing experience, having egg-shaped ear cups. Now, in terms of comparisons, I will say that yes, I have chosen this headphone to be my end game headphone for now, until something else comes along that is worth more. But I will say this, I do not miss the Sasvara by any measure, because that headphone was built terribly. It was really built terribly. The cables were horrible. The feeling of it on my head was horrible. It was shaky. It was not good at all. The sound was incredible, yes. By all means, the Sasvara sound is very unique. And when you compare it to this, yes, it is a better headphone technically. However, for preference, I do prefer this type of a sound. Now, That's not to say that, oh wow, for me it's better than Sasvara, so it must be the best headphone for me. Also not true. I did own a Meze Elite as well, and I must say that's one headphone that I do regret selling. And if I could right now, I would swap these out for a Meze Elite because of some very important factors. And that is comfort. I cannot stress enough how important comfort is when listening to music. The whole point of these headphones is that they're going to be on our head for an undisclosed amount of time so that we can listen to our music. And if I can only get through 10 songs and I have to take off my headphones because they're too heavy, that is not good, and that is a major detractor. So that's one negative point when it comes to the Caldera and ZMF headphones in general. Now the build quality, top notch. Okay, the only one that beats this is Meze. Okay, everybody else needs to look at this and Meze in order to determine what do they want to do with their quality. In terms of build, I think this is going to last a lifetime. I think it is one of those headphones that you can pass down generation to generation and it will just be as amazing as it always was. It's built like a tank, let's put it that way. Now, when you're listening to music that is a little older, recorded before maybe the 90s, you tend to hear that this music is a lot more trebly. It is a lot more sibilant. It is a lot more expanded in the highs. Now, a headphone like these can make music from this era sound fantastic because it is a warmer tuning. It does not produce those harsh highs like hi-fi headphones can do occasionally. It is just going to be a very smooth experience. So if you listen to older music, 70s rock and hip-hop and sort of R&B from that time, then I think you really will love these headphones. The mids are incredibly lush and almost akin to the HD600 or HD650 from Sennheiser. And I know those headphones are far cheaper than these, and to even be comparing a $3,500 headphone to those would be ludicrous. But those headphones are iconic at this point for their mid-range. And I think the ZMF Caldera, as well as other ZMF headphones, tend to produce mids very similar to Sennheiser's sound. So what do I think about these headphones overall? Well, I think if you like music that is a little warmer, I think if you want more emotion in your music listening experience, if you don't mind a weighty headphone, then I think the Caldera might suit you perfectly. It is good across all genres. It can handle everything from opera to hip-hop or to metal, for example, completely different genres, but it handles everything fairly well across the board. It is a sort of jack of all trades. So to sum up, guys, I do truly love these headphones. I think they're fantastic for the price, and I think they're fantastic for what they're trying to achieve, which is a detailed, organic sound, and they've completely nailed it with this. So if you truly want maybe a statement piece, something that sticks out, something that is beautiful, something that is organic and rich looking, then I think the ZMF Caldera might just be the one for you. So go out there, test them out, see if you like them, and yeah, perhaps get them. That's all from me, guys. My name is Mikhail. Remember, you can call me Mik, and I will see you guys in the next video.